Hi. So, I didn't post a video the other day, and I have a story to tell you for that. As I was sitting here getting ready to record this, talking to another driver, 74 from the previous video, ignore the radio, I usually do. I'm sitting in a parking lot here at Crystal, and for those of you that don't have a Crystal, it's White Castle. This crazy, I'm assuming drug addicted, but that's, on me, don't worry. A homeless lady comes up on a bicycle. She's just covered in blood. I mean, just absolutely covered in blood. And she's like bleeding from her hand, and her finger's all like I can't do it because it's not natural to have your finger that way. And I'm like, holy crap, are you okay? She's like, I just need some money for, and I'm thinking drugs. Just some food. I'm like, all right. I go, ma'am, you need an ambulance is what you need. She's like, no, don't call no ambulance. I just need some. I'm like, well, here, I've got, I got some biscuits from Popeyes. Here, you can have some biscuits. She's like, no meat in there? And I said, no. And she's like, oh, Lord, I don't need, I need, and I'm sorry for the horrible caricature, but that's exactly how she sounded. Lord said you can't live on bread. And I'm like, did he? I mean, I really don't have any clue. I don't lord much, so I don't really know. And then she gets all mad and starts yelling at me, and then starts yelling at 74, and telling her that her smile isn't enough. And I think her smile's nice, I mean, it's not like my smile, but whatever. So she goes off, and then she starts turning around. She starts yelling at some employee who's sitting out in the parking lot here. That back and forth, she's calling her an asshole, and the employee's just going, "God bless," over and over like 5 or 6 times. Craziness. All right. So the other day, Saturday night, I go and pick up a gentleman at a nightclub that caters to a more mature crowd. I want to call it like an adult nightclub, but it's not a strip club. It's a dance. It's a nightclub, but it doesn't attract kids, essentially. And this guy jumps in the car. He's like, "We got to go." And I'm like, "All right, where are we going?" He's like, "We got to get there before she does." And I'm like, "Okay, where?" And he's like, "Way the hell up north of here." So we just start going. I'm like, "What's happening?" So according to him, his girlfriend is like super hot. Too hot for Playboy hot. I'm like, okay. He's like an average dude. I guess he's relatively okay looking, but he's not like, well, he's not me. So he's like, yeah, so I got this really hot girlfriend, and she's crazy, though, and crazy stuff always happens. We're always getting fights. And this time, I wasn't even doing anything wrong. And I'm like, okay, this time. That means you've done shit wrong before. So, yeah, radio. Always interrupting my videos. It's going to do it again. So,
74, you're going to be picking up at the Piranha Grill.
Ooh.
Just a little bit past
No clue where that is. So, she apparently wasn't dancing with him. He's just out on the dance floor dancing by himself, just, shaking it. And she comes screaming over at him about how he's got his hands on other girls and he's grabbing other girls' butts and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I wasn't even doing anything. Meanwhile, you've got men all over you, kind of one of those kind of things. So she leaves, and he has to track her down to the parking lot, and he jumps in the car, and she's getting ready to leave, and they get into a fight, and he reaches over and grabs the keys out of the car, and they keep fighting. He's like, you know what, if you want to keep this up, I'm going to throw these keys in the bay. The thing's right on the river. And she doesn't believe him, and so he walks over to the water, and he cocks his arm back, and he's like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to throw him in the bay, and she's like, no, you won't, you're a little pussy, and he throws her keys in the bay. I'm like, no, you didn't, man. He's like, yeah, I threw her keys in the bay, so now we got to get back there before she gets a ride. I need to get my stuff and get out of there. I'm like, holy crap, what am I involved in? So, we drive up there, and he tells me the story 3 different times, because he's drunk. So I get him to change the story, and he tells me how he works on cars, and he likes Nissans, and so we get there, and he's like, yeah, I got this awesome Nissan, and he does. He had this beautiful 300ZX twin-turbo. The thing was gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And I had to give him a jump because it had been sitting there for a while. Battery was dead. So while we're sitting there jumping it, she gets dropped off by some guy. And of course, he starts giving her crap. Oh, that's the person you rode home with? Whatever. So she ignores him, walks right up to me, and she starts rubbing my chest. And she's like, oh, you gave him a ride home? That's so sweet of you. And let me tell you something. She was too hot for Playboy. He was absolutely right. That girl was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Stunning beauty. He didn't deserve her. Especially considering how much of a douche he appeared to be. So I'm like, yeah, I gave him a ride home, and, he's yeah, I'm just giving him a jump. I'll just do what I can. She's like, well, you're so sweet. And I'm like, well, and it just came out of my mouth. I'm like, I kind of wish I'd driven you home instead. And she's like, oh, you're so cute. And grabs my butt. I was like, hell yeah. Then she just goes inside. He pays me. Now I want to kind of hang out. I'm like, maybe she needs a ride back to go pick up her car. I should get her spare keys. But he's like, here you go. Here's money. Get out of here. So yeah, always something crazy. And the night's still young. I've still got 7,000 hours left in this night. I know. It's a lot. So I'll probably see you later with nothing else or something else. Don't listen to me.